Hello and welcome to Canutillo Combos, the official Canutillo ISD podcast. Gustavo Reveles, the Director of Communications for the school district, here with our fearless leader, Dr. Pedro Galaviz.
Excited.
And
can we say where we are?
We're in the headquarters of the El Paso FBI district office, right?
FBI, and that doesn't stand for fabulous, beautiful, and innovative.
Well, it may.
It depends on who it is.
But of course, it's the Federal Bureau of Investigations, and we're here on location, Doc, because we have some special guests with us on the podcast. This is the second time we're in this building to talk to special agents of the FBI about issues that impact students, young people, families that may be connected to your school district. And here to talk to us, we have Special Agent Hannah Massa. Did I say that correctly?
Yes.
From Kansas City, Missouri.
No, she's not from Kansas.
Not the Kansas City Chiefs who won the Super Bowl.
She's from Kansas.
Kansas City. She was very, very quick to say, no, I'm not a Chiefs fan. But, you're correct. There's a lot of bad people out there that are trying to prey on our babies, our students that we serve every day. And just want to thank the FBI for bringing this up and this topic. So, it's all yours, Hannah.
Thank you.
So Special Agent, tell us, you reached out to us wanting to talk about financial sextortion.
Yes.
Tell us what that is and why parents should know about it.
So the FBI has seen financial and traditional sextortion. For traditional sextortion, the victims are typically female. And then for financial sextortion, the victims are typically teenage males, about 14 to 17. The FBI has seen victims get younger and younger, though, as young as 7 at this point. With the financial sextortion and traditional sextortion, it typically starts in the same manner. Your children will be online on a gaming app, such as Roblox, Discord, or even on just social media, TikTok, Instagram, stuff like that. Somebody will start to talk to them. The person that's talking to them will present themselves as being someone close to your child's age, as a peer. Mm-hmm. They will then start to build rapport and build that trusting foundation of a relationship. They may even send your child photos of a female, a teenage girl, to make your sons feel comfortable. And then after that, they're going to start asking your children for nude photographs or videos, sexually explicit in nature.
So, Special Agent.
Uh-huh.
So, I'm a parent. My kid, I just bought him Christmas Xbox. What is it? Xbox?
A PS5.
PSP, whatever, right? So, I'm gaming. Boom, 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 boom.
Mm-hmm.
And it just pops up.
So there's different games. I'm not super familiar with like the Xbox and the gaming stuff because I've never really done it. However, there are capabilities to chat, to message, to talk through the headphones.
Yeah, because I heard my son would be playing.
Right.
But he's 23, whatever. So and I hear it's like, who are you playing with? Well, I'm across the whatever.
Right.
That's where it pops up.
Yeah. So they'll start building those relationships through those gaming consoles, and they'll start talking to them about like, hey, go follow me on TikTok, go follow me on Instagram. And so then your kids will go and move the relationship to a social media site and then start communicating via messages.
Yeah, because I heard of a couple of our young students, teenagers, boys who've committed suicide.
Yes.
Because of the financial sextortion of.
Yeah, the FBI so far has been made aware of at least 20 suicides that have resulted from financial sextortion. Boys end up sending money, so the offenders will receive their pictures and then start demanding money. They will say, hey, if you don't send me $500, $50, $30, I'm going to post your pictures online. I'm going to send your pictures to your family, to all of your Instagram followers, whatever.
So what happens is we develop a relationship. They develop that trusting relationship. Right. Send me a picture of something,
sure.
Right? Usually your private parts, and it's a bad pic. And then that's when it starts, the
yes.
financial?
Yep, so once the offender gets that picture, they're immediately going to start demanding money.
Okay, besides having a great relationship with my son or my daughter or someone, how does a parent know that popped up? What are there measures to prevent that? Or?
So I think the more access your child has to a screen, the more vulnerable they are. the more time they have alone with a screen, a phone, whatever, the more vulnerable they are to this. I've had parents say that they go through their kid's phone every night to see what they're doing. I've had parents say, I have no idea what my kid is doing. He's in his bedroom all night by himself on his phone, on his tablet, whatever. So I think building those relationships and being more aware of what your child is doing, researching the apps that they're using, educating yourself. A lot of times when children are in these situations, they will shy away from their parents because there's a lot of shame and embarrassment, and they don't want their parents to find out. But they desperately need help to prevent it resulting in suicide, to prevent it resulting in them sending money. A lot of the times, the offenders are asking for money through Cash App. If your child is under 18, they have to have a sponsor to have a Cash App, so it's important to be watching what your child is doing on any type of monetary apps that they may have.
Why is it skewing towards males more than females? That's interesting.
So the financial sextortion is more focused on males because the primary goal is financial gain. With young females, the primary goal is sexual gratification, and so they're using those females to produce child sexual abuse material. For the males, I think it's easier for them to say, hey, you know what, you're going to be really embarrassed if I send this photo to your parents, if I send it to your followers. And it just kind of hits that nerve within young boys of having shame. You know, boys have a harder time coming forward for all crimes, not just sextortion. They have a harder time talking about it.
Right.
So I think the offenders are very calculated and are very educated on what they're doing, and they know that they can gain more money from boys than they will from girls.
Speaking of the offenders, who is there a typical sort of profile to who these guys or women are that are doing this? And what does the FBI know about people that tend to target our kids?
So the majority of offenders that we're dealing with right now are overseas, typically West African countries, Nigeria, the Ivory Coast, and then even like the Philippines in Asia. We are able to work with international law enforcement agencies to try to prosecute these people depending on the treaties that are in place. We also have numerous offenders in the United States. I have a couple case examples of people that we have arrested for this. As far as a typical profile, there really isn't one. Anyone can become susceptible. Bad people. You know, it's easy.
Hearts.
It's easy when you're behind a screen to be just absolutely shameless.
So I know you said before we got on, like the youngest is 7 year.
That's what we've seen.
7-year-old kids.
Mm-hmm.
Dang, that makes me shiver because I just want to do. It's just incredible how social media has just. People have marketed and preyed on our babies.
Well, and I think this really speaks to the need for parents to be open with their children, to talk about these circumstances and tell them what their expectations are, right? When we tend to shy away from conversations about sexuality and about things like that. But making sure that we tell them, listen, someone might one day ask for a photo of you and be smart.
We got a mom right here.
Yeah, we have Christina from the Public Information Office.
You're a mother of 4.
Yes.
Including a teenage boy.
A high school, 7th grade.
Yep.
And
4th and
4th.
pre-K.
How do you talk to your kids about social media and about what Special Agent Hannah from Kansas City, Missouri.
Not Kansas City, from Kansas.
Kansas. Yeah, Kansas.
I just make sure that first of all, they're very highly monitored. So every time they are allowed to have like screen time, but I have like all the monitoring devices on there, so they have limitations of what they can access and what they can't. And we've had those talks about, situations like this where there are bad people out there that'll, try to get them to do things that, and if they ever feel uncomfortable with something, they need to come and tell one of us immediately. And also always be skeptical of everyone. So especially with my teenage son, I always tell him, just because they're saying they're like a hot teenage girl out there probably means they're probably not a hot teenage girl. It's probably the complete opposite. So I always tell them to be really mindful of who they're talking to, and if it seems too good to be true, it probably is. Yeah. So if they're getting those pictures and these girls are looking real good to them, it's probably not who they're talking to.
Yeah, and it seems, I guess I can see why teenage boys will be the target of this, because I think they'll be prone to.
It's puberty.
Yeah, they're like, oh, some girl wants to, do this with me. Like, all right, sure, why not, right? I mean, I think boys tend to be a little more open to these kind of sharing of this type of photos and these types of videos, where for better or worse, girls are taught to be a little more apprehensive about it and to be weary of people targeting them.
But it's also that part of, and we deal with this, if people not wanting to talk about sexuality.
Yeah.
People not wanting to talk about you're going through
desires
as an adolescent, and as you go through, a little girl through her menstrual cycle, a little girl goes through that, and developing, and a little boy, and I mean all that is like it's as Grace Catholic, no one talks about that. Mm-hmm. No one talks about it. And we don't have those conversations openly. And if we try to have it in school, we get hit with, with you're trying to make them this, or you're trying to do that, you're trying to do, So.
Yeah, we get accused of a lot of things, but the bottom line is families, parents, and communities need to be aware of this. This is, I knew this was happening.
Right.
I didn't realize it's such a widespread problem.
Absolutely. I think our office, we're one of 56. We're receiving reports of this every single day. And so it's happening everywhere. It's happening constantly. I think the best thing you can do as a parent is to have those open conversations with your child, not just about internet safety, but about body safety. And hey, it's not okay for people to touch you here. It's not okay for people to ask you this, and really just teaching your kids about self-respect.
So we're from a school district. Mm-hmm. What advice how could we launch a campaign like body safety? I've never heard of that.
Okay. So
again, I went through the 80s, and the only thing my parents used to do, listen on the phone on the other side.
Yeah.
That's how old I am, right? So how would we?
I think you have to start young. The younger you start talking about, private parts, and nobody should touch you here. Nobody can ask you for pictures of yourself. The younger you start those conversations, the better. You hope that these conversations are happening at home. But as school administrators, you know that it's not. And so it is kind of left on you guys to also have those conversations. I don't know what you guys do as far as like counselors talking to kids and going in and just making kids aware of what is okay and what's not.
Does the FBI have like a campaign or something that we can, give parents to say, you said something that popped with me about less screen time. Would you say less?
The more screen time you have, the more vulnerable you are.
The more screen time. See, that's very powerful, especially as a young parent, because that's all you see kids nowadays. Yeah. You see them in restaurants with their.
Oh yeah.
It's like, hey, be quiet. Go to your room.
Yeah.
Oh, he's quiet. Oh, he plays on that all day.
And I think people think, parents and adults think that these predators are, creepy men in white vans, like lurking outside your kid's playground. The internet and these social media apps, they're a digital playground, and predators have access to thousands of kids.
And they're not supervised.
They're not supervised. They're not focused on one victim. They have hundreds of victims that they can victimize constantly. And so you think, oh, well, my kid is sitting right here and they have their phone, so they're safe because they're with me. But if you're not watching what they're doing, then how do you know if they're safe? So
we would be open as Galaviz ISD to work with the FBI to do that.
Absolutely.
Campaign, and have you come up and talk to parents, and talk to the PTOs, and talk to parent-teacher organizations about that, and get that message across. Because it's not just, I'm sure it's happening in all languages, right?
Absolutely.
Spanish.
Absolutely.
Whatever language you speak, there's bad people trying to get kids. So
yeah.
We've spoken about prevention, and hopefully this helps families. But what if it's already happened, and a kid comes to a parent and tells him, mom, dad, have something to tell you
Right.
that I'm being targeted this way. What should a parent do?
So we as the FBI often receive reports from parents, but we also receive reports from the children who have been victimized and don't want to tell their parents. So if a parent finds out, the best thing to do is block the individual. If you've sent money, don't send any more money. Once you send money, they're just going to keep asking for more money. And then save all the evidence that you can. These people are creating accounts, deleting accounts left and right. But the more information we have, the more we can do to investigate. So saving all of that information, changing passwords, maybe even changing your accounts, and then reporting either to local law enforcement or to NCMEC or to the FBI.
What did you say? What's
NCMEC, the
What's that?
the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Parents can make reports online at cybertipline.org.
So do you have like we can put that on our website?
Mm-hmm. And we can link.
Yeah, parents, if you we can link it to
Yeah. NCMEC, National Center for Missing and Exploited Children.
Yeah, we can, anything we can do to help prevent, or if that was already to guide parents.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, this is a difficult conversation to have, but one that's necessary.
Absolutely.
And we certainly need to engage with our students and our young people because, the reality is the likelihood that they might be targeted is high, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
someone's going to
Absolutely.
reach out to them.
So here's that, the more screen time you have, the more vulnerable. But mom, dad, I want to play. How does a parent start that? Is there like a
Right.
conversation to have that?
Okay. So there's a lot of resources on NCMEC's website that parents can reach out to get more information on how to maybe engage with your child, to set those boundaries, and we talked about having the different apps on the phone to monitor what your children are doing, and just setting boundaries with your kids about how much screen time they can have, or I've had instances where parents are like, well, I don't want my kid to be mad at me because I took their phone.
Yeah, exactly.
But are you a parent or are you a friend?
They're mad at me all the time.
Yeah.
Well, and that's true. I grew up in a household where my parents said, what do you mean privacy? There's no such thing as privacy
Right.
around here.
That's like I told my kids, as long as you're on my taxes.
Yeah. So would you recommend that they know their passwords, that they know their
Absolutely.
they need to have access to those things. And it's unfortunate, but it's a reality. We need to make sure that students, children are being monitored in that sense. We would never leave a kid alone in a playground. We would never leave a kid alone at the mall or a store. We should never leave a kid alone online. That's even more dangerous, I
You don't
think.
think
You're
of
right.
that. Like Special Agent Hannah said, is the kids were here, right? And we're at dinner and the kids right there on their device and they're safe, but you don't know who they're interacting with.
Yeah.
So,
It's funny. I've seen teenagers be on that headset talking to people from around the world,
Right.
and most of the time it's safe. They're playing. They're doing what they're doing, but they are talking to people they don't know. They're talking to people they've never met, and unfortunately, the reality is there's some evil people out there, and we need to be careful. So maybe even asking them, just play with people
Right.
only speak with people that that's a friend of yours that we know, or asking them, who are you talking to? Let me talk to them. Let me make sure that they're real.
Right. I think it's important too for kids to feel like they can come to their parents and talk to them. A lot of kids, these kids that have committed suicide. Not that it's the parents' fault.
No.
Nothing like that. But what could have prevented that?
So-
How could we have talked to the kids first and helped them?
So I've been in airports, and then you see in the airports talking about human trafficking.
Sure.
I have a flyer here that talks, am I a victim of sextortion? What can I do? Can we take this
Yes.
and then put it around our schools?
Yeah, I can give you some copies.
Is it also in Spanish?
I can look. We can find one in Spanish.
I'm sure we can.
That way
find something.
we can, because we can start with this as a national crisis hotline. Stop Sextortion, get help now. FBI, how can we help you? The ICAC,
ICAC, the Internet Crimes Against Children.
Internet Crimes
You
Against
can also
Children.
go to this website and get a bunch more flyers.
All right. National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. So we have a plethora of resources here, Gus,
Yeah.
that we can take with us and then use it and then just get the information out.
And get that conversation going. And
What else do you need from us? What else do you want from us?
I think it's just important for there to be awareness. The more awareness and education we have, the more power we have. There's new apps being created every single day that make it easier for kids to have access to talking to their friends, to sharing pictures, and more access that predators have to your children as well.
Do you have a list of apps that get hit that? Do you know what I mean that hey,
Yeah.
don't use this app?
Yeah, I can write down the most popular apps that we have right now. So we have Instagram, Snapchat, your typical apps. We also, Roblox is a big one for younger kids right now. Roblox, ROBLOX. Kids play games on there and they're able to chat. Suspects will move them to another platform. Discord, any type of gaming system, TikTok, social media.
And unfortunately, there's a new app coming up every day, basically,
Yeah.
that they're gonna do. It's hard to keep up. So it's just important that it's Special Agent said here, it's just to keep up and making sure that you're tracking that phone, tracking that tablet, because they're gonna be adding stuff. They're gonna be moving on to the next biggest thing that there is. At one point Facebook was big with kids, now it's the grandparents thing, right? So they're just moving on to whatever's next, and it's hard for parents to keep up. It's hard because these apps change on a whim, but it's not hard to log onto your kid's phone and ask, what is this app and what are you doing in there?
Right, and I think you can even set controls to where your kids can't download apps without your permission.
Yeah, my kids can't do anything. I'm like Big Brother. You can't do anything in that house.
Why does it have to be Big Brother? Why not Big Sister? Why do we have to genderfy it? Come on, man.
Big sibling.
Big sibling. There you go. It might just be your
Gender
mama.
neutral.
Your big mama.
Yeah, no, it's
I don't like Big Mama.
Mother Teresa. There you go.
But thanks for
Yeah, appreciate it.
for
Absolutely.
alerting us to this and coming on the podcast and helping our families realize that this is an issue and that we need to really have an important conversation with our students and with our children about this, and our families. Parents need to know about this.
Is there a way that you come out to ISDs or school districts and talk to our parent-teacher organizations?
Yeah, we can always come and give presentations, talk to people. We're happy to do that. We think the more education and awareness is out there, the better. And we want to help. That's our job.
Awesome sauce.
Great. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And
Thank you for having the Green Bay Packers as your football team. You can say it. You can say it. Come on.
he does this every week.
I would never say that.
He does this every week. But Doc, just we're in an intersession next week, and then spring break the week after that.
Spring break.
So we'll be back next week with a podcast, but after that we'll be on spring break, and we won't be answering any phone calls.
You know what? We're never on break.
We're never on break.
34/7, 34/8,
34/7.
8 days a week. I know, social media and that thing called cell phone.
It's my phone's on all the time, so
Yeah, and I appreciate it that you do take my calls.
I always do.
Thank you. And I take your calls.
All right. Well, thank you,
All right,
everyone.
thank you,
Thanks for
FBI.
hosting us, and we'll be back next week with another episode of Canotio Campus. We'll see you next week.